I was talking to my guest Daniel in the studio, and that music is so chilled. I'm just loving it, and I'm with somebody who's equally chilled. So this is a great day, especially as it's so warm and humid outside. So we just want to keep the temperature nice and cool and flowing. So you were going to introduce yourself?
Yeah, second time lucky, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So you introduced me.
That's right.
My name's Daniel. Hi, listeners. Hi, London. Hi, world. Hi, universe, I should say.
Yay.
Well. But yeah, my name's Daniel. Daniel Stennett, and actually more important than that is that I'm the chairman and a member of proud member, I should say, of an organisation called African Sons and Daughters. Yeah, so that's African Sons and Daughters. Shout out to all the African Sons and Daughters family. Shout out to everybody who knows about African Sons and Daughters. Shout out to everybody who doesn't know about African Sons and Daughters, and shout out to everyone in between. Yeah, so yeah, big up everyone, big up yourself, big up the community, all day long.
Okay, you do my job better than I do.
Listen, we're both on the same job. We're both on our job. That's what it is.
Absolutely. And our duty today is the duty of communication, as I was saying, in our wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You share your wisdom and your knowledge. So can you tell the community, our community a little bit, our listeners, a little bit about African Sons and Daughters, what its purpose is, and a little bit about its target audience?
Okay, cool, I can. And well, first of all, I'll start off with the first part of that. Mm-hmm. Our purpose.
Yes. And
that starts with our mission. And our mission. First of all, we're a non-profit organisation. Yeah. So that basically means that all of our profits from our activities go back into our mission, which is to promote and encourage the social, economical, and physical well-being of the African community living in the UK and worldwide. That's our mission.
Hey, I love that. It's simply put, but it is huge.
Yeah, it's huge on purpose, to be fair. And it's one of those things where it's a good position for myself to be in, and it's a good position for anyone who's involved in African Sons and Daughters to be in, because at least you know that anything that we do is going to fall under that remit.
Absolutely. So, I mean, when you hear African Sons and Daughters, my first thought is that it must be doing something for the young people of our community.
Yes, yes. For young people, elders, everyone in between. It's for the community in general, and we are all children of Africa, and we are all children of this world.
Yes.
When we look at it even deeper, but yes, it is for African Sons and Daughters, and actually that answers the second point. Who's it targeting to? Yeah. And it's funny because I always used to say, and I still say now to be honest, is that the reason why it was called African Sons and Daughters is because I wanted everyone to know that it's for African sons and daughters. there's not ever going to be a situation in the future when someone turns around and says, okay, cool, maybe we might just change our focus maybe to some people from Alaska or some people from over here. No, this is quite specific. African sons and daughters. I
love it.
It's not urban sons and daughters. It's not inner city sons and daughters. It's not BME sons and daughters. It's not left eye sons and daughters. No, it's African sons and daughters, quite specific. So that answers the second part of who we're targeting.
No, I love it because, as you say, the title actually tells you who your audience is. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And
that's the purpose of it. Not only our audience, but also the people that we wish to serve.
Yeah. And
it's one of those things where we're talking about motivations, and I say it's one of those things that make me so happy.
Okay.
To work for our community and be in this position to work for our community is the reason why we're actually doing it. Let me rephrase that. Is the reason why I'm doing it is because I can work for my community. That's why I'm so happy to do it, and that's why it's specifically for our community, because we have a lot of people out there who have worked in different industries, in public services, in commercial industries, that would want to work for the benefit of our people. But we don't always have the opportunity to work directly for our people. Sometimes we work as figureheads for these organisations, because they love people like myself, who is a young brother who can go out there in these inner city communities, right?
Yes.
And target these people that they can't work with, right?
Yes.
They love to work with us because we are those figureheads, but then the management is all non-family members who have no real interest, short-term or long-term, in our community.
No, it's a tick box exercise.
basically. And I'm trying to move away from that. And it's funny because we started in 2011. We're 5 years operating, 6 years in existence. And it was at that time where, I don't know if anyone, not a lot of people will remember it, but there was a thing released and started by David Cameron. I don't know if you've heard of this. We'll test you. You know, but not a lot of people would know this. But there was a big thing that he was trying to push called the Big Society.
That's right. Yeah, that didn't last very long. It was a PR campaign. Yeah,
fraudulent PR campaign. I would have called it fraudulent campaign. You was kind of said it was a PR campaign. Yeah. But
well, I remember David Cameron when he came into office, as he was so hopeful and he said so many nice things, and you can imagine he got there and it's like, okay, now that's for the thing, and that's to get the votes. Now for the real business, big business or no business, because that all died a death, like the family first things that the Tory party come up with from time to time. And
it's ironic as well because we're here speaking on the day of an election.
Absolutely. Well. So this is all the more, I mean, from my point of view, I love to meet people who get up and do. There are lots of people like me who can talk the talk, but I'm always so pleased and proud to meet people that can walk the walk. And I'm telling you, Daniel is one of them. As I say, he has this I'm going to call it a project, but it's bigger than a project. And he has this organisation that he's set up called African Sons and Daughters to serve the community and to help to meet their needs and to empower our community.
Mm-hmm. And just to add on to that point as well, and just to continue the point that we were making before, because in 2011, they were talking about the Big Society, right? And the whole gist of that was that you would cut public services. Hear this one, family. You're going to cut public services and you want to give more power to the communities, right? But the reason why I was saying it was a bit of a fraudulent thing to say, because they're saying that they're going to give more power and cut the red tape and give the communities all the responsibilities for these public services that are no longer in the public's hands, but then there was no money to fund those community groups in doing that. So that's why it was a bit fraudulent.
Absolutely. As you say, it's talking the talk but not walking the walk.
Yeah, and as well also it's also kind of highlights the point as well that politicians, and it's funny because I'm sure that I'm from East London and I'm sure it's the same wherever you go, that come election time you can see a load of people waving red flags and blue flags, and even the yellow guys pop up as well every now and again trying to get your votes. But as soon as they're got their votes and they're in for the next 5 years, you're not going to see them again. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there were two responses to that. One is on a personal and private level, you have to be an active citizen. You have to hold your politicians to account, whether it's your local councillor, because if your bins aren't being collected and emptied properly, or whatever it is, you write your letters to your thing. Don't pick up the phone. You either go in person to the surgery or you write a letter or send an email. Put it in writing, because in this society, if it's not ink on paper or electrons on your screen, they don't recognise it. So if it's a voice energy, they don't recognise it. But ink on paper, so you send that email, because you can always print that off and send it to them as evidence that you sent it. So be an active citizen. The second point is, as a community, we need to use our numbers as a bargaining chip. So it's like if we're in London and we're in largely America, so like in Brent, big African Caribbean community, you've got numbers. You can get your MPs elected or unelected. Bargain with it. Say, what are you going to do for us? If we elect you for the next 5 years, what are you going to do for us? Will we get, can you guarantee that we get a community centre or funding for our specifically for our elders or specifically for our young people? Because we see other people have it, other communities have their own special centres. Why don't we have ours? So that's two things. Election time, we have done it this time round, but be strategic.
Can I just throw something in there as well? So glad you mentioned Brent, because there was actually a report by the Running Mead Foundation, I think, and Brent were mentioned, and the borough of Brent
favourably or otherwise?
Unfavourably.
Surprise, surprise.
Not like as in general. Brent's a lovely place. Brent people are great, but in this regards, because I think they were talking about I can't remember the phrase that it was specifically, but it was along the lines of all the boroughs that have got higher populations of African and African Caribbean people, Brent came up near the top of that list of boroughs that don't represent for the minorities, as quote unquote, in that area. And that boils down to, like you were saying, if you're not organized in a block, you don't have to you don't have the
bargaining power.
You don't have the ability to keep your politicians accountable, and they are not accountable to people in the area. And it's funny because you might think, as you said, is on a councillor level, on a local authority level, that a lot of these people might get through and a lot of these places are safe seats. Like I've got to go back and vote. I'm actually in two minds whether or not I'm going to vote, because I normally vote for Green Party, to be fair.
Likewise.
And it's one of those things where I'm in a safe seat, like a majority of our people. So I might vote. I might vote. I might vote. Might not. But that's another story. That's another story.
I'll tell you what we're going to do is that Daniel and I are going to hold each other to account.
Yeah.
And sometime once we found out who the next incumbent is in our local area, and to ask them for something for our community and see what we get from it. And
as well, I feel like we're kind of going off on this conversation. You kind of just throw me in there straight away, and without really kind of explaining what we're about or anything. Well, I need to.
Yeah, so I did digress, but it is important that we've been telling people to vote because we really don't like the current administration. And we really don't want them to come back. So we've been telling people to vote, but it's not enough just to vote. You remove them, but you still haven't empowered yourself.
Exactly.
And so this is the purpose of it. And as your organisation said, to empower our community, adding knowledge and wisdom is all good. That
was a beautiful segue. Did you see what she did there? She brought it back. She brought it back to us, and it's true, because as I was mentioning, politicians are going to do their thing. They're going to do things in their own interest. That's their prerogative.
Yes.
But we, as a community, we need to be self-reliant. We need to be self-sufficient. And from the time you build up that foundation, family, you then have the position to bargain. You then have that. And the funniest thing about it is that you have to realize that these are things that we don't have at the moment to a great degree.
That is true. That is true.
And the worst thing about it is that it's so easy to change our situation. It's really, really simple to change our situation, and it starts off with the mentality. First, we have to recognize it, and it's funny because I always say, everyone, that here we are in the UK, and I can put money on it, family. I can put money on it that you can go out there and stop anyone, any person that you see randomly on the street, and just spark up a conversation with them, and talk about the situation in our community, talk about some of the issues that we face, and you could say, okay, well, I think we should do A, B, and C to try and address those issues, and you can put money on it that you're going to come up with some of the same things. There's a general consensus. These are not things that are new. This is nothing that is a great shock to the system, that we have to organize ourselves. We have to be self-reliant. We have to be self-determining in what we're doing. We have to work and operate in our interests. That's nothing new. And you know, it's funny because, like we were saying, and going back to the point of African sons and daughters, that's what we're trying to, not even trying, that's what we're trying, not even trying, that's what we're addressing at the moment. And this is what, I guess, our part that we're playing. Because there are a lot of people out there, and as well, just at the beginning of this conversation, I would like to big up everyone who's out here, like you're saying, about being proactive. Everyone who's out there being proactive in the community, I have to give a shout out to. There's too many names to mention. We were talking about some of the people that we know.
Well, we're going to say that, I mean, some people. So big shout out to Carol Cato,
yes,
and
shout out to Carol.
Nisa and Shop Noir.
Yes.
There's an event on Saturday. I will give you more details about that, but you need to go out there and support because we're going to support our black economy.
Yeah, big up Carol.
That's right. To Dean Okai.
Yes, Mr. Dean.
Exactly. To David J. Williams.
Yes.
And
big
Manhood Academy.
Manhood Academy. Everyone out there involved in that.
To Cheryl Phoenix.
Cheryl, you beast. Cheryl, listen, we love Cheryl. We love Cheryl. Cheryl's great.
To Ngozi Fulani.
Yes, every time.
Sister Space.
Yes.
That's it. Who else? If you didn't get mentioned, you're being thought of.
No, I would like
We'll
to
get
big
you.
up the 100 Black Men of London as
Yes,
well
indeed.
into
Yeah.
the mix of that. And Ray Lewis as well. I know he
Yes.
doesn't get a lot of shouts outs, but I would like to
But
give
no,
Ray
yeah, because
Lewis.
he doesn't get mentioned, but he's out there doing his thing.
Yeah, he's been doing his thing for a
Yeah.
hot minute. I would like to big up
So-
Pablo and the Origin project. That's a man who
So I'm so
Rites
glad
of
he's here
Passage thing.
because I've actually said to him, because if you've listened to my show, you know that I will name check the sisters every day of the week, because obviously that's who I know better. And obviously there's Brother Dougie out there.
Speak your
Find your voice.
Find your voice. Find your voice. Sorry. I got speak your mind, but find your voice.
All right, to Mark and Charmaine Simpson, and to Deb
Oh my
Rose.
word! Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
Black History Studies all day
Absolutely,
long.
Robin Walker.
Tony Warner.
So, yeah, you see the list goes on and on and on. We have got people in that community that are up there, out there doing their thing every day of the week. So
Yes.
if you don't know, just call us, ask us.
Mm-hmm. And,
Yeah.
and the funniest thing is as well, the reason why we mention and we have to give appreciation to everyone who's out there is because, family, these are people that are passionate about our community.
But they are so passionate. I mean, there are people I know that just stopped work full stop to get their project going. And it's just like they're living on a wing and a prayer because they believe in what they're doing. Right, I'm going to... You want to talk a little bit more about what you're doing while I take this call?
Yeah, because we have to shout out to everyone who's out there, because we need more activity in our community. That's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to. If we're not going to, because knowledge without action is useless, to be fair, because we're at a point in time where we've got YouTube, we've got access to information, we know what's happened. Well, I would say not everybody knows what's happened, but I would say there's a sizable amount of people in our community that are socially aware, conscious, whatever you want to call it. So if you are socially aware, if you do know some of the issues facing our community, get involved. That's what I would say, and that's why we were shouting out and bigging up everyone who is involved in doing something.
Okay, well, I've got someone here.
Okay, hi caller.
A caller, Marcus, and he's going to join our conversation. So, Marcus, can you hear us?
Hi, Marcus.
Hello?
Good evening, and to your guests as well, African sons and daughters, right?
Yeah, African Sons and Daughters. How you doing, Marcus?
Okay.
Good.
Yes, I'm just listening to you, and I just want to just touch on one issue, which you actually, I kind of hear that quite a lot, people saying it's time to stop the talking and start the walking. I've always actually thought that we always need to think, we also need to talk, and we also need to walk. And there are certain people who perhaps will be doing the walking while some other people might be doing the directing, and other people might be doing the thinking, whichever way you want to order you want to put it in, but it's a part of a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a disconnect between those who are actually walking and those who are actually talking and those who are actually thinking. I guess some people might do all three of them together, but I think we have to show a bit of respect to professionalism in all areas. You know, however, I have known about your group, and I have had quite a lot of groups. I know we've done lots of work on Facebook, but I think perhaps we would have been at a much more advanced level of development if we were able to actually recognize the value of each other's contribution. And
can I jump in there, Marcus? And I think,
yes,
I think that's why we were shouting out everyone in the community in the first place who are proactive, and we appreciate them. And yeah, I hear you as well on that point that, you know, it takes different types of people to make a whole. That's life as well in general, and it's the same for organizations and groups of people. And I hear you on that point. You know, that's all I can really say. I do hear you on that point.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. You know, I'm actually listening to you and continue to listen to the conversation, but that was just the one point, which I think it's not that we don't communicate as a people, but I think some of our communication is going wrong. And I think the recognition of how actions and philosophy needs to actually be married together in order to produce the results that we need, and sort of evaluation feeding back into the philosophical development of the future is very important for us to understand. And I think perhaps the educational struggle that our people have been going through needs to be visualized in that context.
Okay. So, I mean, just to address you, Marcus, and thank you for your contribution. I would say that I'm not surprised that was the impression that I left. I think that there are always going to be people who are thinkers. There are people that are communicators, great communicators, so they don't have the ideas, but they're able to communicate those ideas well. So I would, at the moment, put myself in that group. And then there are the people who will sit on the committees and identify problems and create strategies. And there's that. And then you've got the people who are very proactive, who will go out, speak to the councillors, speak to the community, and galvanise and organise people on the ground. So, as you say, there are many, many different sets of skills, and they all contribute to make the whole. And I think what I wanted to say, certainly I feel the point we were trying to make, is that there are already many people in our community doing all of those things. So if it didn't come across that way, you've raised the issue, and I would just like to say that yes, all those skills are required, and all those skills are present in our community. And I thank you for your contribution.
And thank you. And I think those people who are doing each element of what we suggest we actually identified are very important, and they are doing valuable work, and we should be careful when we speak to say whether or not the foot walker is less important than the actual thinker, the philosopher, or whoever it is in our community. And so that can encourage people to continue developing their contribution towards our movement. I don't want to go into the politics. I don't want to go into the politics, but I particularly think that our community actually suffers a lot economically because we are not pursuing much what we call capitalistic education and programs. But I think development in business is not necessarily going to be exploitative towards our people. And our people need to recognize that the whole complexity of business has to incorporate profitability as well as social rights and justice as well within.
Okay. Well,
sorry.
I've forgotten.
Okay, I'll listen offline because I don't want to go on further.
Thank you very much. Okay, then.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think, Marcus, I'm so glad you called in, but I would have liked to have spoken to you after I said a bit more about what we're doing, and maybe explain what we're talking about a bit more.
Okay, well, if you can continue a little bit more about African Sons and Daughters, because we did digress and we kind of broadened it, but we're going to concentrate the next 10 minutes until the top of the hour, talking about Sons and Daughters, and then I'm going to ask Daniel some more about himself and his person and why he does what he does.
Yeah, because as Marcus was saying, there's a wide range of different people in our communities, and that's what we're doing here in African Sons and Daughters. And I don't want to be dismissive, because I think that's kind of like where he's coming across of like me talking about, okay, cool, people that aren't doing anything and some people are doing things, and I don't really want to kind of go into that. That's not where we were going into that.
No.
We weren't. Yeah, that's not where we were going with that, brother. Yeah. So, or uncle or sir. Yeah, I think me and you ain't same age. I think you're a bit older than me, but yeah, that's not where we were going. But it's true, and we have to identify that. There's no harm in doing that. There are some people, let's be fair, and like I was just saying before, there are some people that are drowning in knowledge. I'm not going to apologize for that. If you're drowning in knowledge and you're not doing any better, and you're not being proactive in your day-to-day life. Let's be real here. Let's be real here. I'm being real. I'm being 100%. Because I personally, I don't have any time for that. I'm sorry, but I don't.
No, I don't.
And I don't think we, as a community, can afford to encourage that kind of behaviour. And
well, I think there are some people that have the philosophy and the understanding, and they can identify different aspects of things that are happening in society on a wider level, and that is good. But alongside with that, and the understanding and the philosophy, as you say, as you raised, but alongside that, it is useful to have in our community people who are proactive, who can have the skills and the tools to meet with the politicians and hold them to account on behalf of those people who don't do it, and to raise up our community, because we have lots of people who on the ground have a great understanding, but they don't have those leadership qualities. So we're saying that there are so many leaders in our community addressing many different issues. So some are back empowerment and economic empowerment. Some are looking at the issues of domestic violence. Others are looking at the growth and development of the child into adulthood, so that they can be whole and well-rounded adults. There are others. I've forgotten his name. He does the Ultra Kids.
Julian
Hall. He's,
shout out to Julian Hall as well.
That's right. He teaches entrepreneurship to children, and I know many other people who teach entrepreneurship to adults. So there is a passing on of the knowledge in many different fields, and I've also met people who have started their own schools, started Saturday schools, people that teach about natural herbs and such, as Sister Kendaki, people who teach about veganism and raw foodism. So we have all of these people in our community, and we are so blessed to have so much talent. So back to Sons and Daughters, because that has a broad spectrum and it covers a lot of issues. I really want our listeners to hear more about what you can do. Yeah,
and I think the reason why I went back in with what Marcus was saying is because of the people that I would like to put this message out to.
Yes.
And the people that I'm trying to appeal to, are the proactive people in our community, and people that want to get involved in, like I said, African Sons and Daughters. And just to explain a bit more about African Sons and Daughters, we're a membership-based organisation, non-profit organisation, and what we're trying to do is recruit, and actually not even trying, what we are doing is recruiting African Sons and Daughters members that share the same ambitions and want to join up with an organisation with our mission, which is to promote and encourage the social, economical and physical well-being of the African community living in the UK and worldwide. So anything that we can do under that remit is good.
Well, it's such a huge remit. There's got everybody under that remit is going to have a skill that they can pass on, that they can share.
So that's why I was listening to Marcus, and I was like, I'm here, I'm with you. So I'm with you on that. And just to kind of let you know where we are right now, because I'm here to promote an event that we're doing on June the 28th, and to promote the organisation in general, but to promote the event on 28th and as well, like you said, to share as well. So it's
the 28th, it's that, what day of the week of that?
It's a Wednesday, midweek.
It's a midweek event, and where is that being held?
It's being held in Stratford, in East London. And to be fair, this is really a shout for people that are in East London. North East London, South East London.
But we got some great people that will travel from South London. I mean, we got a project in Hackney where people are coming down from Middlesex to support us. So don't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, because I already know that there's going to be people from all over coming.
That's wonderful.
We've sold 60 tickets already.
Wow, that's cool.
So I know there's going to be a good turnout. So I'm not really worried about that, because the idea around it, and just to kind of bring it back with African Sons and Daughters, what we're about is, if you can collect together in a community, in an area, people that sign up to the same mission, that agree to follow the same code of conduct when dealing with each other and dealing with the general community as well, you then have a base to work with.
Yes,
that's where I'm kind of coming with, and that's where my attitude is. We need ASD members, African Sons and Daughters members, that also feel the same and value the same thing and appreciate the organisation and appreciate our mission. Because at the moment, this is our current position, at the moment we have 2 Saturday services for the youth, one in East London in Stratford and one in Edmonton, that's North East London. And we also have a warehouse unit as well, and that's where we house our food cooperative service. So it's not a food bank where you go there and pick up food for free, or you get funding and people pick up food for free after that. No, it's not a food bank, it's a food cooperative where we buy our food together cooperatively. It's in the name.
That is cool. I mean, it's a subject that's come up many times amongst people that I know. So and you've actually got yours up and running. Yeah,
and this is what I was kind of along the theme of the knowledge is useless without the action, you know. And actually, once you do know that, and you do know better, that's the natural conclusion you come to. Like you said, you know people that are already doing it and running things, because that's the natural conclusion. Because the idea behind that, and I always say this to people, I'm a broken record, I never change my tune. That's a good thing, but I never change my tune. And the idea and the understanding behind that is that if you always hear that same adage of, we're spending our money outside of our community, these people don't care about us, they have no moral or legal obligation to put their profits back into our community. Hear that? No legal or moral obligation.
Well, because the definition of business in this country is to maximise your profits. Yeah,
and just in general as well, the way that mankind, I should say, has...
I'm sorry, I'm keeping an eye on the clock because we're so enjoying the show, we're going to run into the news.
That's okay, basically, mankind has adapted and has taken on that model that you have the farmland, you then produce product, and then people, they work for their money, and then that's how they get their food, by paying for it. It's not a natural way. It's not the natural way. Come on, if you look at how it's actually got to that situation, there used to be people freeholding, right? But then you had people that grabbed land because it was land and power, and it's all
the Enclosures Act in the UK and the land clearances in Scotland.
Yes, and then that's been exported. So why would we, if we're going to come up with an organisation, why would we come up with something that is not necessarily reflective of where we are? Cooperatives. Yeah, so that's one of the things that we're doing as well. And also as well, at the beginning of the year, we also got a bit of farmland in Waltham Abbey as well. And we're going to split that into a community allotment and also keep some honeybees on there as well. But the basis that I'm talking to you on, and the idea behind African Sons and Daughters, is that if we do have a small but dedicated team of people that are dedicated and committed to building their community, because that's where we are really quite weak in our networks of people and the strength of our networks. Yeah. So that's the idea behind it. It's
certainly a skill. Right, I'm going to have to hold you there. We're going to have to follow this up. Right, we've just a few seconds till the top of the hour. But I'm here with Daniel Stennett of the chair of African Sons and Daughters, which is a community project. It's a non-profit organisation, and it's there for the betterment of the African Sons and Daughters. So there you have the mission statement and the group that it serves, which is huge. And I'm just so, I feel blessed when I have my job. I meet such wonderful people. It's so uplifting. It is so great and so uplifting. So we will be back after the news and views to continue this and learn more about African Sons and Daughters.
Amiga Radio, 104.1 FM. News and views around your community.
This is the OmegaRadio.co.uk news at 5.
The former head of the FBI has accused the Trump administration of lying about him and the Bureau. James Comey's been giving evidence to U.S. senators.
The administration then chose to defame me and, more importantly, the FBI by saying that the organization was in disarray, that it was poorly led, that the workforce had lost confidence in its leader. Those were lies, plain and simple.
Mr. Comey testified that Donald Trump's shifting explanations for his sacking concerned and confused him. He also stated he has no doubt there was Russian interference in last year's election. Details have emerged about a British transport police officer's efforts to prevent the London Bridge terror attack. He was seriously injured trying to help victims, and his boss has described him as outstandingly brave.
Amiga Radio 104.1 FM.
This is what I've been throwing out, family. because it's funny because we're sitting in the studio. It feels like we're just talking, but I've got to remember that we're speaking to London. So shout out to London, shout out to everyone, the world, the universe. And this is what, in that, with that being said, this is what we're throwing out into the universe. So African Sons, like you were saying, sis, African Sons and Daughters family meetup. We are facing challenges that can only be addressed when we work together. This is an event to connect and discuss shared ambitions and plans for our community. This is our current position. We have a team of volunteers and African Sons and Daughters members. We have office and warehouse space available in Stratford and Leighton, East London. Space and youth service facilities available in Stratford and Edmonton. 40 desktop computers and ICT equipment for distribution to African institutions. And future community-led investment opportunities, for example, a farm project and other community businesses. So we have the ability to create the change we need in our communities. The need for our organisation has never been greater. We need community builders. We need African Sons and Daughters members that share the spirit of unity. We must acknowledge that working alone in this world is not an option. We are assembling a group of proactive new members that recognize the vital importance of African Sons and Daughters' work and mission. And as we mentioned before, the next opportunity to get involved is at the Carpenters and Dockland Centre, and that's 98 Gibbons Road, London E15 2HU, and that is on Wednesday, June the 28th. Get that in your diary now. I'm going to give you some time to close what you were doing on your phone, to put this in your diary right now, or to get a piece of paper and pen, or in your physical diary if you're old school like that. Listen, I've got my diary still there. So if you've got the pen and paper, you got your phone ready. June 28th. Yeah, June 28th. And it's 7 o'clock till 10. Entry's donation. Yeah, but be generous in your donation, please. And chip in whatever you can, but it's a donation fee entry, so there's no minimum, no maximum. There will be some refreshments available. If you would like some more information, this is the important details. If you want to take down a number for us, it's 07538 024 039. That is 07538 024 039. And as well, also, if you just want some information about us, you can go online. There's a thing called Google. You can just quickly type it in. And I'm so proud as well that if you type in African Sons and Daughters into Google, we come up to the top of your search result. So you can just do African Sons and Daughters into Google, and we should come up to the top of that search. And as well, you can visit www.africansonsanddaughters.com if you want to just type it into your browser straight away. So that's www.african, traditional spelling, AND in the middle, daughters, African Sons and Daughters.com. Yeah, so go to the event page, news and events, and the details for the event is there as well. So once again, Wednesday, June 28th, we won't have any singers, no entertainers, no dancers, no spoken word, nothing like that. We're just talking strictly business, strictly proactive. And the beautiful thing about it is as well, is I was speaking to someone about this yesterday, is that if I was calling, or I should say if we were calling, I should say, because it's not just me, if we were calling for 100 people, because that's what we're trying to do, we're calling for 100 people to come together, to congregate midweek, like I mentioned before, no entertainment, no special guests from America, you know, it's just a regular midweek meeting to talk about things that we're actually doing. If we just have in a situation where there's 100 of us meeting up just to think about things that we could possibly do in the future, that would be a powerful event. But right now, we're meeting up and we're talking about what we're doing at the moment and what we're looking to do in the future. So if you want to get involved with something that is proactive, that's happening in East London, and it's not because I don't want to be dismissive of anybody else who's outside of East London, and I don't want to put across that I don't appreciate people that are willing to travel down to East London, but we are being quite specific. We are targeting East London. Yeah, East London and North East London. So if you're in East London, this is a shout out to you. If you're in North East London, this is a shout out to you. And if you're listening to this and you're from outside of those areas, please know that we have members in Northwest London. We have members in South East London. We are collecting a database of people that are interested in putting on African Sons and Daughters services in their area and linking up with other people that share the mission and share the ambitions of what we're doing, because there is strength in networking, and that's where we are weakest, when we don't network and when we don't connect with each other. And all the issues that we face, I would say a lot of the issues that we face are a manifestation of some of those core issues not being addressed. So I like debate. Don't get me wrong, I like debate. I always say that I don't really have too much time for debate. I do I like a debate every now and again, but it has to be with a purpose.
Yeah.
We have to, like I said before, we are at a stage where we are. It's a good 60 years after the first civil rights movement, or the most recent, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, the one that we talk about in Living Memory.
Yeah, the one that we talk about.
As far as I was concerned, as long as African heritage people have been away from their home, and when it wasn't their choice, there's been a civil rights issue.
I hear you.
Because from day dot, they fought back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to understand. And when you have that perspective, even in your weakest moments, you can call on that and know that the fight was always there. Now, some people are going to run up and put a rib between the person's, a knife between the person's ribs. Others will poison them. Others will curse them. And, they do what they do to get by. Others like, you won't kill me, you won't break me. I will strengthen myself. They are all ways, and they're all skills which won't necessarily find in one individual, but in a collective will make you formidable.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm banking on.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's what we're banking on. That's how I live my life. And it's funny because we were talking before, and I'm telling you now, I'm happy, family. I'm so happy. I'm confident. I don't want to come across as arrogant or I'm cussing anyone off.
As I described, just happy. Quietly confident.
Yeah, I'm quietly confident.
But then I think what would be nice to do is to have a little background as to why he felt it was necessary to have African sons and daughters, and what he was doing with his life prior to that. Although I have to say it's quite it's a young life from my perspective.
Yeah, youngish. I'm still a spring chicken, I guess.
Yes.
But just a bit of background on why, because it's fun actually. I did a vlog recently. I've got 4 episodes. You can check me out. I'm on Facebook as well.
On Facebook,
Bro DME that is my Facebook name.
Okay.
You have to say it with a Jamaican twang, otherwise it doesn't work. Bro DME that. You understand?
We have it.
Bro DME that. But it's spelled BRO space. The phonics are terrible on it. DAME. DAT, Bro D Amida, and on YouTube it's Bro D AMEDAT. But yeah, anyway, I was doing something.
If you put it in there, it'll come up.
Yeah, it will come up. And basically, that was the question I asked on my latest vlog. Why do you do what I do? And my answer has always been, and it still is, why not? Why are we not organising ourselves to a certain level? Why are we not putting on things for ourselves and others in our community? Or why are we not addressing our issues and our interests? That's always been my thing, and as well from I think at the age of 17, to be fair.
Yeah.
When I first learned about Marcus Garvey and I first learned about UNIA, because I'll be honest, I am a Garveyite.
It shows.
I know you can see me a mile off, but I am a Garveyite. I am a child of Garvey, like Malcolm X, like everybody else who's come up.
A lot of the people that we see that are real powerful leaders, and they're consistent in their leadership, I would say the majority of them are Garveyite.
Because you know what it is, Uncle Garvey, I can't even say Uncle Garvey, but a Right Honourable Marcus Messiah Garvey, that was a blueprint. You have to think about it, family. Yeah, and this is what I was seeing when I was 17. 3 million members, even more, in their prime. Yeah, in 1914, and this is the year 2000 when I came out of school, and I was thinking to myself, okay, cool. So we're here, we just left school, everyone's trying to buy car insurance. Car insurance is crazy when you're a young man.
Of course it is.
It's like £2,000-3,000. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking about, okay, cool, well, the UNIA was around, had this amount of members, had businesses, had ships, family. They were shipping stuff all over the place. And here we are now in the year 2000. I'm just graduating. I'm a man in my own right. I'm about to go out into the world. We're all buying insurance, but there's no major black organization with a major banking institution behind it that I can go and get insurance from.
That's right.
And when you learn about what has happened in the past and you think to yourself, okay, wait a minute, so you sabotaged Marcus Garvey because he was creating this entity. And as well, if you think about it, not only in the sense of what was happening in America, but what was also happening on the continent.
Yeah.
And worldwide as well. But also in the continent as well. This is why he was such a nuisance and such...
Well, because he inspired the leaders. I mean, Jomo Kenyatta and... I'm sorry, the names escape me. But all the leaders of the successful liberation movements in the 50s, every single one of them name-checked Garvey. They didn't name-check Gandhi, they name-checked Garvey.
Yes.
The Gandhi thing is a useful propaganda of the 80s. Everybody was name-checking Garvey.
Yeah, and it's the funniest thing as well is that a lot of people would forget Marcus Garvey.
They want to, because they're being made to forget.
Yeah, they want to forget.
That's why you have the cult of Gandhi. It's to everybody say, oh, you know, Gandhi was a wonderful leader. Gandhi grew up in South Africa. He was as racist as the next man. You know, he's great for India, but he wasn't great for the United Nations.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't care about Gandhi.
The reason why we don't know about Garvey is because in the 80s there was a great big push for Gandhi.
Yeah.
And so we're still living that legacy.
And as well, like I said, this is why we have to kind of forget about Gandhi.
Why, if you want to know why in the popular imagination we're not hearing that Garvey, in the same way that all the Europeans think that culture and education started with Greece. No, all the Greeks, every Greek philosopher will tell you they learned their knowledge from Egypt, but they don't tell you that part of the story. So it's the same move.
Yeah, and it's funny because you mentioned that in the same breath, because that's another example of us being pushed a certain narrative.
Yeah. And
I guess the point I was raising is that I don't really want to hear that narrative. I know better.
Exactly.
And it's
but
funny.
We need to tell people why you don't know, because it's just like, if you don't know, it's like, who is he, who's significant? You have to say, this is the guy that inspired the man that you're worshipping. And then and put in his place. And then because otherwise people don't, if they don't have a reason to change, they won't change. So you have to actually just tell them the reason why Egypt is so important is because the older civilization in Europe learned from Egypt. So in the same thing that they're pushing all these other national heroes on you that we're supposed to be aware of, they learned what they learned from the feet of that man.
And let me just as well add on to the point as well, and why it's important for us not to forget Marcus Garvey and the UNIA, because I think that was more important than just Garvey, was that actually this is an organisation, a massive organisation, 3 million members, like I said, shipping. And it's funny because they weren't marching, they used to do parades.
That's right.
Yeah, they used to do parades, family. They're not marching.
No, people come out of their house to stand on the pavement and watch them do their thing.
Yes, and that was a show of strength. It was a show of, actually, this is our support.
Yeah,
this is our organisation.
As well as the shipping line. Well, I'd say, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but one of the things I love about Garvey is that when you have the United Nations Declaration about human rights, he preempted so many of those things, because when he had his organisation, he made sure the women had a place at the top table. They were given portfolios from day one, whereas the United Nations didn't adopt the rights for women until the 50s. So he beat them by decades. He's so far ahead of the game. And that's why they want you to forget him, because they don't want you to know that this little man in stature, physical stature, right, could inspire so many people. And I think this ties in very much with what you're doing. Garvey didn't go out and get 3 million people. He got affiliates. He would go to organisations that already existed and talk to them, and was able to persuade them the value of joining what he had, and show them that you're good, but together we are better. And that's why I love African Sons and Daughters.
Thank you. And it's one of those things where I guess it's stem from the question that you asked, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yes. I'm doing what I'm doing because I am I study history, and when I was talking about what has happened in the past, there's an old saying that history repeats itself, right? So if we're facing a situation where we find our communities are struggling, and we find ourselves in a situation where we have to address public services.
Okay, I'm just going to say we've got a caller on the line. So, caller, would you like to?
Hi, caller.
Hello. We're not sure what's going on here, caller. We're not getting the volume. Can you try again, please? No. Try again. Yeah, I've no minute. Okay, try again.
I'm here.
Okay, yes, we can hear you, caller. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, you good?
Yes,
we're
I'm
good, thank you.
All right, lovely. All right, I just want to say good afternoon to yourself, Miss Smooth, and a big shout goes out to Daniel.
Thank you, because this is, I believe, it's King Lion on the phone.
Right, I'm here in my kitchen, sitting and listening while I'm making some medicine, and I'm taking my hat off and commending Daniel.
Thank you.
Most definitely. It's such an inspiration and such a joy to hear that a young man of your caliber is doing what you're doing. With young men like yourself and the rest of your team, the future is bright for young people and for melanated people on a whole. You have my support totally. I will be coming to your function.
Thank you.
And, as a Garveyite myself, I would definitely be supporting you in all that you do. We need each other. We're all that we've got, and we most certainly have to work together. It's very impressive to hear that you've got a farm going on. You've got a food situation going on, warehouse. That's why I say I have to commend you, because you're not just talking it, you're walking it. And I have to give you a massive big up. Massive.
Can I jump in there, Lion? Thank you for that. First of all,
yeah, man, you're welcome. One burning question that is in my heart.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say quickly, I'm curious about the age group. Is it mostly young people? Do you have middle-aged people, or what is it? Or do you have a cross-section of ages?
It's great because the reason why I was jumping in actually kind of answers that. But it's across the board, to be fair, and that's what is going to be needed to address issues in our community. You're going to need that across the board generational influence, right? It's not a young people versus old people thing, young lion versus old lion. No, that's not the situation. That's not the kind of ethos or philosophy we're trying to push in the future. It doesn't serve our interests. And actually, just to add on to the point of youths in the community, I didn't mention it, but I started the organisation when I was 26. You can kind of add it up if I'm 32 now.
It's what I'm saying. This guy, we've got youth that are just marching and doing, and it is so impressive.
And for me, because I've met even I need to shout her out actually. There's a young lady called Temi Mwale, powerful sister, yeah, and she actually does help me put my point across. She started her organisation when she was 17 after one of her friends was stabbed. Yeah, and died. And it's one of those things where I met her originally when she was 16, and she came to volunteer, and we've kept in touch along the years. But the point I would make is that there are so many of our family out there, young family, that have the means and ability to do more for our community. We just need to give them an opportunity. I'm a great believer in that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm a great believer in that, and I think that as long as we give that platform and give people the opportunity to do things, then we'll be able to get things done. Because just to kind of add into the mix, that African Sons and Daughters were a non-political and non-religious organisation. We're strictly talking about business. We're strictly talking about putting on services for ourselves and others. We have a code of conduct so we can all know, listen, these are the bog standards, sets of rules that we got to abide by, so we can keep the function of the organization rolling, so we can never be distracted from what I said is the core mission.
It's so impressive,
you know. So
beautiful.
So that's one thing I was saying. I guess this is what I'm saying to you now as a case in point. I was 26 when I started it. I'd known people that are younger, and these are, and as well, you have to realize as well is that right now we're facing a situation. We're talking right now on the day of an election. I suspect that the Conservatives are going to win again. This is before the results come in, because England will not vote for Jeremy Corbyn. England voted for Brexit. We have to remember this. But listen, I don't really watch their politics too much. I'm talking about what we're doing right now.
Yes.
And for our community, facing the situation where, and I'll tell you this, one of the most heartbreaking things when I first started was to see the statistic that 50% of our young brothers between 18 and 24 were unemployed.
That's right.
Yeah. And this is a trend that's continued. And as well, I want to share as well with you, family, that in Chicago, we all know Chicago, Chirac, we all know Chicago, they're like 80% between that age group. That's
right. And I'm going to support you on this, is that when I first started on the radio, my message was entrepreneurship. And I'm saying it doesn't matter if you have a 9 to 5, it doesn't matter if you're a carer, it doesn't matter if you're registered unemployed. Get your little side hustle going, because your little side hustle might be something that everybody needs and wants, and will not only support you but will employ people. And even when you start your business, you're giving employment to so many other people. And
can I just jump in on that point as well? And this is why I say there's the importance of that network. Because from the time you have that network of people, that you can have that opportunity for your young people to test out their personal skills that they've gone to study for, or they can test out their hustles or their business acumen in that community, and they can get that participation.
We've been sending so many young people to uni, and we are taking all their money and our tax money, and then they're going to work and pay some more money to build up our competition. And when I'm talking about competition, I'm talking about the mainstream. If they go and they're going to go and work unpaid, so they can show they've got some work skills, they need to be supporting our businesses. We need to reach out to these people who are, and there's so many of our young people doing business administration and business courses, and they need to have, I've forgotten what the term is, but to do that unpaid work in order to get their credits. Placement. Get their placements. So we need to come together and...
It's slave labour, that's what it is, basically.
I understand that, but given that that's what the system is, if they're going to do the slave labour, they should do it for our businesses, and all that new knowledge that they've got about CRMs and SEOs and all the stuff of it that us middle-aged people haven't quite got our heads round, and that understanding of social media, which young people, because they use it so often, is intuitive to them. If they're going to do a placement, we need to be on those registers to get our young people doing the placements in our businesses and build our business, so when they come out, our business will have grown sufficiently to pay them what they are worth. That's the point I'm making, because they're going out there and they're doing these placements for free in order to get their credits to get their degree. So I'm saying that we need to get our act together and make sure that it's our businesses that they get the placements in.
And can I just say, I think Daniel's got a very beautiful vision. I think we should all get behind him and support it. It's a very rounded objective to include all aspects of the community, young, middle-aged and old. The old have the wisdom, the middle-aged have some part of knowledge, and the young have the technical skills and technology, the understanding. So working together as a unit, we'll bring in the change that we need to see. It's been done before, and we can certainly do it again, and we will do it again. And with that, I'm out. Peace, strength, and power to each and everyone. Big up yourself, Daniel, and big up to yourself, Miss Smooth.
Thank you so much for your wonderful contribution.
Peace. Yeah, Lion. Coming with the fire.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. And it's funny because we're on air, we're broadcasting. Not everyone will call in. There's a lot of silent listeners, so shout out to all the silent listeners.
Thank you for that. Yes.
And it's one of those things where this is a broadcast.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a broadcast. This is me throwing it out there. Like I said, I wasn't joking. I was being honest when I said this is a big thank you and a hello to London, the world, and the universe.
Yes.
Because the energy and efforts that we're putting here in East London, what we plan to do is make sure that we have the model solid working in East London first, and then it will be like a franchise. And like I mentioned,
you can roll that out. And the thing is that I'm just leaning on from where you are. If people are only interested in the food cooperative, then they can look at that part. So they can look at the food production, because that's where your passion is. If your passion is in natural foods, and it's not enough just that you want to think about, you want to take it somewhere, well, then here's a template. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You've seen somebody who's successful and say, these are the stages we went through, this is what we had to do, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so you're mentoring and guiding, and maybe, I imagine, fees are changing hand for the expertise, but much less than if you go out of the community. It keeps the money and the expertise in the community. And then it allows us to grow. So I just think it's fabulous. I'm not quite speechless, but the superlatives have kind of dried up. But I have them in my head and in my heart for what you are doing. And I love that you, in your young years, have been so focused and disciplined to achieve what you have done. And so we have to give credit for that, because this is not an accident. Your organisation, as you say, inception from 6 years ago, active from 5 years ago, growing, succeeding.
Yes.
And now you're looking to expand it, to take it to another level.
Yeah, so, we're consolidating at the moment. This is where we're at. We're consolidating.
Okay.
So we're trying to consolidate it in North, East and East London. And like I said, we have support from outside of London. So I'm not going to say, okay, if you're not from East London, don't come. But we have people supporting us from all over.
I saw a WhatsApp message today about what is this thing about London. If it's not inside the M25, it don't happen. Yeah. So we have to take it there and acknowledge. And
as well, if I'm honest, the thinking behind it is how you have the fashion houses. You have London, New York, Paris. Yes. Right. Those are the three major fashion capitals. Of the world, or the Western world, we should say. And the idea is, like I said, it's one of those things where if you can do a successful model here in London first, you can demonstrate. You can demonstrate it. And as well, also to add on to the point of the way that African Sons and Daughters works, is that we are trying to offer those bog standard set of services that, as a small community of people, as a small amount of people, proactive people that are joined up to this organisation, you can do services for yourselves and others on that basis. But then also it gives you that scope to also have that adaptability to address issues that are specific for that area and that community. So for example, alongside running our Saturday school and our food cooperative and our Advice and More, which is a legal advocacy thing, and the business approval thing I didn't even mention, but these are future things.
You're going to have to come back and say more.
These are future things, but if you go to our website, you can check out what I'm saying. It's certified. And the thing about that is that we can offer those bog standard set of services. But say, for example, if you're in Brent, you might have someone who does pottery. So you can do a pottery workshop. That's something specific that the members in that area can come up with and say, look, boom, we need your support. We're African Sons and Daughters members. This is what we can do. Boom. But you might have someone in East London who might do quad biking. And you could do a quad biking session where you might repair things, and there might be a different option. And as well, on a bigger scale, when we're thinking about these things, over here in the UK, we have healthcare that is free at the point of use. Whereas in America and other places around the world, there is not that service. So I would suggest, and I would suspect, I don't know for 100%, but I suspect there's a big odd, or there's high odds, that if we did not have healthcare free at the point of use, healthcare at a primary level would have been a consideration for African Sons and Daughters. But because we're here in the UK...
Well, I mean, the effectiveness of primary care is so well demonstrated. You get that nailed, a lot of your long-term problems, well, they don't disappear, but they are diminished. So that is really a thing.
And as well, you have to remember as well, is, like Lion was saying, that these things have been done before. There's nothing new under the sun. It is literally just a extension and a continuation of that thought process. And I always be honest as well, like without members in the community that were pushing Marcus Garvey, that were pushing Dr. Henry Clark, that were out here, and I need to shout out the Mama Africa store as well in Leighton. And we were talking about all these people, and we didn't even mention the Al Capelin revivalist movement.
Yeah, Brixton.
Let me shout them out, because trust me, Mama Africa store, and to everybody out there as well, because I know every area's got that one.
And you got New Beacon Infantry.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone's got that shop in their area that has been that bastion for our culture, and that alternative point of view. Well, not really alternative, but our mainstream point of view.
That's right.
And it's one of those things where I need to shout them out, and as well also show people and demonstrate the importance of doing so. Because without that influence, you wouldn't get a man here now convinced and convicted and confident in his community and his ability to work within his community and also the ability of his community. You wouldn't have that. If we don't do that, if we don't harness that within ourselves, who are we going to rely on? What outside influence are you waiting for? What outside community are you going to say, oh, wait a minute, let's help out these people? That's not going to happen. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but that's how, if you're thinking that's really going to happen, I don't know what to tell you.
That's the effect of the brainwashing that we're under.
I mean,
you'll probably hear me talk about this, but it's insidious, and some of it is plain and obvious, but most of it is very, very subtle, and I suspect the biggest amount of it is subliminal. That you're getting this message that you're not good enough, and even when you believe you're good enough, you don't believe that other melanated people are good enough.
And that's a shame, and that is a shame, family. That is a shame. And and I just
go ahead.
Just to jump in there, because one thing I realized in doing this, and I love sharing this, and I want to share this with you, family, is that, as you can imagine, going out there representing organisation calmly, being proud to represent African sons and daughters. And it's interesting because I've had a lot of meetings and we've been talking with different people and we've been working together and stuff, and it's always been disappointing and sad to see how sometimes, even when we're in our own circles and we're talking about our issues, that there's sometimes consideration for other communities and how they might feel about what we're doing. That needs to be out of our diet. We need to remove that.
Absolutely, but this is what I'm saying about those subliminal messages that people are receiving, and until they're challenged, they don't even know that that's what they're doing. It just feels so normal and so natural, whereas nobody else gives consideration for us. And so learning to put yourself first, and that's part of the consistent message you'll get from me, is that the key to all of this is self-love. Because when you love yourself unconditionally, the fact that you are flawed is the way that you are, you're supposed to be, so that you can have an insight into a different aspect of life. Because it's not a matter of if we're all the same then we're boring. It's nothing like that. It is that if you imagine there's a circle of 360 degrees and we're all facing due north, then we're going to miss everything. But if you have a characteristic that means that when you look out, you see to the 5 degrees to the left or 5 degrees to the right, and the person behind you has a different, between all of us, and this is why it needs us all to pull together, that is, our perfection is that together we are the whole. And together we are more than the sum of our parts. And so what to you looks like an imperfection or a flaw in another person, when you love yourself, you haven't got time to be judgmental. And so you gain. But first you must love yourself, because when you love yourself, you haven't got time to be critical of other people. And if you see where they're at, you can either step forward to help them or recognise that there's nothing you can do at that time for them. And when the time is ready, you will be in the right place at the right time. So I've gone off a little bit there.
No.
But to my mind, it is an essence of it, that lack of self-love allows those subliminal messages to permeate our consciousness, affect our behaviour, affect our thinking, and consequently allows us not to be as effective in the efforts that we put forth. So that is the root of it. Learn to love yourself. Learn to appreciate yourself. And when you love yourself, you don't have time to criticize anybody else. You just get on with it, and you'll be productive, and we'll be together. We will be effective.
And that's what, and I hope that's how I'm coming across, that I love our community. And as well, also, it's not a thing about us being against anyone. It's just about, because we can appreciate support from outside of our community. There's no problem with that.
That's right.
But we need to have our own self-reliance. That's what it boils down to.
And we need understanding that we can do for self.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes. And we have to be confident in ourselves, because it's really sad. And the reason why I always say that it's sad to see it, because I always think that here we are in a position, we're talking about African sons and daughters, we're doing this positive work, but still there's going to be a section of our community that feel like, oh wait, you can't do this or you can't do that, and it's always been a bit sad for me as a younger person, because I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're trying to say it to me and we're having these same conversations across the board in our community, if a young person comes up and says to you, oh yeah, we need to start doing things on a bigger level, like why can't we work together? And then you have elders across the board saying, oh no, you can't do that, black people don't get together, black people don't do this, black people can't do this. We hear these conversations, family,
all the time. That's why I loved when we, at the start of the show, when we were praising all those people that can and do. And
that's why we have to, because it's one of those things where if you are not aware, you won't know. Yes. But we're here broadcasting it, so you are aware.
That's it. And also, so I'm in charge. But one of the things you have to remember is, just because we're praising them, you can be a part of that number. There is something that you have, your gift, and sometimes your gift is to be the person whispering in the king's ear, because you have that. It's that additional knowledge. A good king surrounds himself with intelligent, knowledgeable people, so he can know what he has to do. No, he's not. He's given an elevated position, and he has these unique powers of leadership, but he is not omnipotent and he's not all-knowing. It's because he has a good team. And so you can be in that team, and be there and do your part and do your thing. So, because not everybody wants to be a leader, not everybody has to be the leader. But you will be there with yourself and your skills, making things happen. Know that you can be there. You'll be your own leader. You'll be your own cheerleader, and your contribution is needed and welcomed. And
I guess this is why, as well, we're kind of going out there with the emphasis on we need community builders.
Absolutely. So right, well, the time now is 5:46. I'm going to ask you one more time to give us the date and place and time, and what you're asking for, and then after the event, I'm going to ask you to come back. And we'll agree a date where you can say what happened at the event and how well it went, and some of what you've got, some of your agenda for the future. Cool.
Hopefully no one throws chairs at me or anything like that. I'm joking. If that happens, I won't make any bad jokes like the last one. So maybe if I make a bad joke, they might throw some chairs at me. But I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to reporting back. And just to kind of, like you said, go through what we're after. We're after people that understand. We're after people that understand what I'm saying. I'm being quite clear. I'm being quite considerate in what I'm saying. And I'll be honest, we don't have too much energy or time to convince people. Because I'm from the Caribbean. I didn't mention that. My mum's from Jamaica, my dad's from Barbados. But I was born here in the UK. But I recognise that I'm a part of the African worldwide community. So if you're in that camp, and you're in the Caribbean community and you recognise that you're an African person, then that's where you identify yourself with, then this is an organisation for you. Might be us or might be somebody else, but we are an opportunity right now. And here I am presenting my opportunity, and an opportunity to get involved in what we're doing. And to kind of let everyone know what we're after. We're after proactive community builders, because it's going to be on us as African Sons and Daughters members and as African Sons and Daughters to go out there in our communities, offer services for ourselves and others on that basis, because you can't go to people and talk to them about the bigger picture. You can talk about global issues and all that stuff and history and all that kind of stuff, but on a practical level, on a day-to-day level, what are we doing for each other? Can we meet up on a regular basis? If there is something going on that needs our attention, will we be linked up? Will we know who to address? Will we have that kind of strength in our network? I think that's what we're trying to address, and and that's why I always salute people that are out here doing their thing. And I guess this is what we're this is our contribution into that.
That is definitely a positive contribution.
Yeah,
and
this is our
say,
contribution.
It could be a template. I mean, I think very much what you're doing is creating a template that will allow, because there are so many people who want to start projects, and the red tape is amazing. So if you're someone who's walked the walk and you say, follow my footsteps, just
can I throw something on that
go
one?
ahead.
Yeah. To everybody who's out here who is hearing this at the moment, I appreciate it, and please take it as an opportunity to hear what I'm saying to you. If you have got something in mind that you want to do based around your skills or your expertise or your experience, please do it. Don't give up your work. Don't go ignorant, because I'll be honest, I did that. I went on ignorant and I regretted it straight afterwards. But plan it out and do it. Carve that little bit of the world in the shape that you want it to be. Do it. That's what I would say. Just do it. Don't procrastinate. If you know that it's something that you can address, and you even if you affect 2 or 3 lives, that's 2 or 3 lives more
Absolutely.
than you would have if you hadn't done anything. And I would like, and it's funny because as time goes on as well, like if I'm talking to you and if I'm being honest, as time goes on, I'm starting to realize how much of an inspiration what I've done is going to be to other people.
That's
and
wonderful.
This is what we want to do. So if you want to be involved in that, and if you want to be able to demonstrate to people that, wait a minute, like I said to you lot before, on a midweek, no entertainment, no special guest from America, no special event status or high keynote speaker or anything like that. We're just a group of people, normal people. I'm not a millionaire. I'm a normal person. I don't even have a degree. That's how deep it is. I don't even have a degree. I have vocational skills. I work in a school as a TA. I have a TA qualification. That's about it. But I have no degree.
That just pays the bills. That's all good.
Yeah, I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah, but the thing is that what you're doing is not normal. It's extraordinary, and it is to be praised and valued and highly respected. But
the point I would like to put across is that we have the capacity in us.
Yes.
Yeah, and myself, I am one of many people out here doing that. And I would say to anybody who's listening to this, and you have the capacity to do this in your community, if you join up with African Sons and Daughters, great. Come on board, join up with what we're doing. We'd love to have you. If you are willing to do your own thing and you want to do your own thing, please do that as well. Anything for the upliftment of our community, I need to encourage you to do that. We've been doing this for 5 years, and like I said, I hope you've heard the majority of this radio show, but you can hear the progress, and it's going to continue to progress. And the thing that I would like to pass on to you is that confidence in our community.
Yes, that's fabulous.
Our community are out there. We are willing, but we just have to market it the same way that churches market church. And mosque is marketed to the community the same way that promoters promote raves. The same energy and effort needs to be behind pushing our community and community interests.
Okay, well,
so that's what we're trying to throw in there. So yeah, that's it.
It's just been amazing. I mean, it's now 5:53. I'm so grateful. I'm so glad that you've been able to come in today and to tell everybody about African Sons and Daughters, and I'm quite sincere in my invitation for you to come back, because I'm sure that our listeners will have been inspired and motivated by what you've said. I hope that some of our listeners will be able to come along and things. So is it tickets on Eventbrite, did you say? Yeah,
tickets on Eventbrite. I'm kind of frightened though, to be honest, because I've done about 8,000 flyers in Stratford, and the Eventbrite tickets we've already sold 52. So yeah, you can go on to Eventbrite, ticket. Book your space.
Yeah.
But we are going to be like on a first come first serve basis. We are opening the doors at 7 o'clock, but we're starting at 7:30 sharp, family. I'm not messing around. I don't know if you got that from me. I'm not messing.
Midweek, most people haven't got the time on a Thursday not to get it on. So I'm sure the people that attend will be focused.
Yeah, we're starting 7:30 on the dot, family. So I don't repeat myself, and I keep things quite strict, and we are on point. So we're starting at 7:30 on the dot. If you would like to hear the full entirety of what we're doing and want to be involved fully, please make your way down there for 7:30. The doors open at 7 o'clock, but we start 7:30 on the dot. And like I said, African Sons and Daughters, if you type in African Sons and Daughters into the Google, we should come up at the top. And www.africansonsanddaughters.com is the website. Telephone numbers on there. Can I give my telephone number? Telephone number again, if you got a pen.
Have you got pen and paper, everybody?
Pen and paper, phone,
whatever it is.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a number: 07538 024 039. That's 07538 024 039. African Sons and Daughters is the website. If you type that into your Google, we should come up at the top. You can contact us via that. Everything is on there. All the contact details are on there.
That is brilliant.
Get to work, family. Get to work.
I've got a couple of messages to put out there. Fabulous guest. I mean, the information and the passion and the calm self-assurance that I've listened to from such a young man to have achieved so much and to be so effective. We've all got that capacity. So remember, strength, courage and wisdom. You can do it. If Daniel can do it, you can do it. Right, I've got here information on the Dogon events going on in the near future. Please check the Earth Centre UK. Telephone number 0121 241 2753. I'll repeat this. The Dogon events going on in the near future. Please check out the Earth Centre. Telephone number 0121 241 2753. Another announcement is, if I can find it, that's it. The Creative Corner Showcase, and that's on Saturday the 10th of June. It will be lots of businesses and workshops, so come with your wallets ready to see all the various businesses that and services they've got to offer. There'll be 3 speakers, including Dr. Idea Joye and Aaron Walker, and the I can't quite get the venue. Not very helpful. I know it's in Tottenham, and I shall probably have to ask someone to give us that information. Here we go. Yes, it will be Saturday 10th of June from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. at the Business Centre, High Road, Tottenham, London N17 8AA. And I'll repeat that. The Business Centre, High Road, Tottenham, N17 8AA, and that's on Saturday the 10th of June. Other notices, well, I haven't really mentioned it much this week, but the Sister Space, I'm so sorry. I've run out. I'm trying to do too many things at once. And it's a charity that supports African heritage victims and survivors of domestic violence. You can you'll find the Facebook page or on Twitter at Sister Space, spelt SISTAH space SPACE. So if you put that into Facebook or Twitter, you will find links there. And also there is I think it's a Just Giving page. So because they are not funded at the moment, and so it's only the efforts of the community that is keeping the space, and that is a service that is so desperately needed, because yes, there are services for domestic violence, although probably not enough. Well, all I can do is say thank you to all our listeners. Thank you to our silent listeners. Thank you, callers, for your contributions. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll be back next week. I'll be back next week from 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock on Omega. You've been listening to Miss Smooth with her wonderful and informative, intelligent, inspiring guest, Daniel Stennett of African Sons and Daughters. So do attend. It's rapidly approaching the top of the hour. After news and views, you have DJ Headley from 6 till 8. From 8 till 10, you'll have DJ Ripper. And from 10 till 12, you'll have Cleo the Black Swan. So we've got a great lineup for you, great music. Stay tuned. And once again, thank you. What can I do? Wrap this up for 30 seconds.
Yeah, can I just shout out my mum,
Yep.
everyone involved in African Sons and Daughters, and a big shout out to Jerry and Queenie. They were celebrating their 40th anniversary recently. And yeah, just big up to everyone. Oh, Toyin as well. So I've just wanted to throw in everyone that I missed out. But shout out to all the listeners and everyone who heard this show today. I hope you take inspiration from it. And if you want to get involved in African Sons and Daughters, cool. If not, please get involved in something for the community. More power.
Amiga Radio 104.1 FM. News and views around your community.
This is the OmegaRadio.co.uk news at 6.
The former chief of the FBI has told senior US politicians he found conversations with President Trump so disturbing he felt he needed to take notes about them afterwards. James Comey's also testified the Trump administration told lies about him and the Bureau, and he said he perceived the president's request to drop an investigation into a former advisor's links with Russia as an order. Mr. Comey said he wanted to reassure the American people the agency was there to protect them.
First, I want the American people to know this truth. The FBI is honest, the FBI is strong, and the FBI is and always will be independent.
An officer who took on the London Bridge terrorists has apologised to victims' families. He says he's sorry he couldn't have done more as 3 more people are arrested in East London. Annie Joyce reports.